With a dream of wanting to have more land, to have an incredible homestead, a huge garden, chickens, and more, we sold our first home, moved into a trailer, finally found land, and have been developing the land and building our dream home and homestead from scratch. The first year we developed this beautiful land. For the last year, I've been building up this home, learning all of these trades, and doing the rough-ins. So if you like the DIY journey, hit the subscribe button. I post a new weekly vlog, mainly every Sunday. Good morning. This week I'm doing things a little bit differently. I'm prioritizing my health. I've really needed a break. In the coming weeks, you will understand why I needed the break. So thank you for being patient. And this was a good opportunity to ask you guys if you had any questions, and let's get going with this Q&A. First question is from my friend from university, and she's an interior designer. She asked, how'd you know what site to pick for your house? So this definitely came with some expertise from Craig, but when we first walked the property and we saw the water, I definitely wanted to build somewhere on this property where we could see the water. There was a spot back in here that was a really good location, but it would have cost nearly double in materials for getting the driveway up there and electricity up there, so it just definitely was not worth it. I also had the option of building farther away from the wetlands. This would have been closer to electricity, cheaper to bring in electricity. We would have had a shorter driveway, but we would have been a little bit closer to the road. Where we picked is an even middle ground, so it wasn't the most expensive for the driveway, it wasn't the least. We have a really good tree barrier from the road, and we basically picked like a flat spot a little bit far away from, like, there's a bit of a hill bank behind us, and far enough away from the wetlands that we can still get flood insurance. I got a couple of different variations of this next question. Are you okay with the extended timeline of the build? And the other question was, I've heard drywall is halfway done the build. Are you worried about another winter in the trailer? I'm not gonna lie, I read that question about drywall being halfway done the build and I was like, what? That can't be right. And I Googled it, and apparently drywall is halfway done your build. That is not okay with me. I do think that once a home is insulated and drywalled and you have your occupancy permit, that you can live in your home. So that's the goal. The goal is occupancy permit. The goal is not finished. And I know so many people are going to say, don't live in your home until it's finished. I really think we need the space again. And I think I would rather live in the home unfinished and plug away at things and live in a little bit of a state of chaos than live in the trailer for a fourth winter. I'd rather a flushing indoor toilet. I'd rather a big kitchen. So the goal right now, where it stands, is to be able to insulate soon, to be able to drywall, hopefully in August. I would like to have a painting party. So if you live near me and you want to join the painting party, please, I would love that. So when I say another winter in the trailer, I think that we're still going to be in there in November, but I would like to move in here before December. Technically, winter is not till December 21st. For occupancy, basically the exterior needs to be done, one bathroom needs to be done, the siding needs to be up, all of the windows need to be in, drywall, flooring, those kinds of things. I think that we can get it done before winter, but maybe I'm super naive in that. I don't know. If you know how to do flooring and you're in the area and you want to come hang out one day, like, please do. I think that a lot of the things I've been doing lately, like the electrical, no one was allowed to help me. The plumbing, I don't really want anyone else to touch. Same with the HVAC, like there's only so much help you can get, and Cam helped me with the insulation, but a lot of that was me thinking things through as I went on how I was gonna put it together. So now that these big rough-ins are close to being done, I feel like the rest of these tasks are tasks that homeowners have done before, and there's only so much you need to know about flooring or painting walls or even helping me lift up some drywall. But I think we can get occupancy before Christmas. I truly do. This next question kind of ties into the last. What are you most nervous about in finishing your home? I have to say I'm most nervous about drywall and how long it's going to take. Next question is, are you designing your kitchen and your bathrooms, and how do you organize your concepts? So I've had a design in my head for the last year, and I brought that design to my husband's work, and the designer, who was incredible to work with, was like, I have some ideas, can I run with them? And I said, you can run with them, but there's no promising you that I am going to change my mind. But she just drew up this beautiful kitchen for me. I got to pick out the colors, the countertops. We're going with wood lowers with warm white uppers and a warm white countertop. We're going pantry, fridge, all tucked into this spot here. An L-shaped kitchen, oven about where the saw is going to be with a range hood, uppers, to about here, and then 2 little floating shelves on either side for like plants, and then a little stack here of uppers. Sink, a built-in drawer dishwasher because we don't have the space here for a regular dishwasher, so it pulls out. And for the master bathroom, I'm going for like a gold and sage and white color scheme. And for the guest bathroom, we're going with like a terracotta, orange, gold, and white scheme. I didn't realize when I started this, when it came to my plumbing, that I was going to have to be designing so early in the project. But when you go to do your plumbing for your rough-in inspection, you need to have all of your valves for your showers and tubs. So I spent weeks looking up products, looking up colors, organizing my thoughts. I went tile shopping. I looked through so many photos, and I'm so glad I took the time to organize all of my concepts. Using my checklist helps me stay organized, but I found an app that's even better called Milanote. Milanote is a tool for organizing creative projects, and I'm using it to stay organized with my plumbing and to have a place for all of my interior design, for my plumbing fixtures, for my tile choices, and more. And guess what? It is free to download and even free to use. But I feel like it's a photo board meets notes meets a to-do list where you can hyperlink everything you need to know. So I have all of my faucets linked. That way I know the size and how far apart things need to be. You can even link your favorite YouTube videos. Not only can you make this look beautiful, but it really just helps with organization. So for my toilet and my sinks, I have them in my notes so I can quickly check my notes, see the specs that I need, and when I'm done, I can check it off my to-do list. And I do love a physical checklist, but I can't click on a link to my faucet, and I can't really like easily paste pictures. So if you are looking for a way to stay organized, check out Milanote, linked in my description or in the pinned comment below. And thank you so much to Milanote for sponsoring this week's video. Next question is, what is your outdoor back patio going to look like? We're having a deck that goes from this side to this side. It's gonna like come out here. It's gonna be straight across the front and back that way, and then like stairs down. But I want this whole view to not be obstructed. So I think I might just have a large staircase coming down the front here. I want the patio furniture and stuff to be here, close to my daughter's play area. That way I can like be editing or reading a book out here, stuff like that. And I think like a barbecue or an outdoor kitchen, not like a full outdoor kitchen. Let's be real. My kitchen's like right there, but like pizza oven, maybe a little table. I'm not sure. Close to like our other entertaining spot. Maybe hammock. Like I'm not sure. A hammock stand would be cool. I do have my hammock over there as well. Oh, there's a deer. The next question is, who inspires you and why? And my mom asked me this question. I don't know if she was expecting, a different answer than this, but like I truly don't know who else I would pick other than my mom. But I would say I feel like the line of women I came from, both my mom and my granny have gone through so much. And I feel like as the generations continue, we're continuing to break generational traumas. Like if you knew what my granny went through, if you knew what my mom went through, and you saw what they've worked on in themselves to become better moms, I don't think you could choose anyone else. We are all 3 of us, and I'm sure even my daughter, all 4 of us, huge cycle breakers and changers. Next question is, how much did you save overall, and was it a substantial savings? So I did a whole cost breakdown video recently this past winter. I'll try my best to link it somewhere. On framing the house alone, I've saved $30,000 in labor. I feel like there was probably a good $3,000 in savings in doing the form work and the rebar. I was told the roof would have cost me $10,000 more in labor if I had hired the whole thing out. I was told about $1,000 a day for electrical, so I'm thinking between $5,000 and $6,000. I think my biggest savings was honestly probably the excavation work for new home construction. Like $200 to $300 an hour is not unheard of here. So Craig saved me a ton of money there. Okay, this is a funny question. How often do you get asked about OF? There are kids who watch these videos. I'm talking like adult content. I don't get asked terribly often. It's just so not up my alley. It's not something that we personally would ever want to involve in our marriage. So no judgment. Oh, but I do get weird messages, and like I've had to block some people, like asking a bit too much. Next question is, how self-sufficient do you want to be? So I want to be self-sufficient enough that I can enjoy my life, but also have backups in place so that we don't have to be here 24/7, 365 days of the year. This land isn't really built or made for farmland specifically. I would have to clear cut a lot more trees, but I do really want chickens and maybe quail. I would love to have a greenhouse. That's been my goal for a very long time. I want this whole front section here to be garden space. I want to plant corn. I want to plant popcorn that we can dry and then make our own kernels. I want to plant enough tomatoes to make tomato sauce for the year. I always want to have enough maple syrup of my own. And I would love to heat my home with firewood. I really enjoy it. So I do love the idea of solar. It was just way out of price range for what it was. So maybe one day prices will become a little bit lower as manufacturing processes maybe get cheaper. I don't know, but I don't know where we would put it without it blocking our view. I think it would have to be behind our house. I think we'd have to clear more trees. So I don't know, that's a we'll see. We at least have the backup system for whenever power goes out. I really like this question and the way it's worded. What do you enjoy the most throughout this project? Is it learning as you build? Is it saving as much money as possible? Or is it creating content? I think it's learning as I build. I really enjoy new projects and I really enjoy learning. My mom has said this to me my whole life, being a lifelong learner is super important. It really keeps my brain full and energized, and I don't know. I just really enjoy the learning process. I really enjoy creating content too. Editing is where I think when I can, I would love to hire that out. It takes a lot of time away from my family. Truly, it takes so much time away from my Saturdays and my Friday nights. So that would definitely be cool to like offload when I can. Saving money is also really cool. But definitely building as I learn, I think is my top out of those three. 2 questions with this comment. What is your favorite family thing to do? And are you getting a dog? So yes, we would love to get a dog. This is definitely something we've been going back and forth on, like the breed, for a while. We just lost my husband's family dog that we just loved so much. And actually that dog came into my husband's life around the time we started dating. So he was the best boy. He was just so sweet. I think we might end up getting a golden retriever. They're really great companion pets and really great family pets. And I think it would just really enjoy our property and enjoy the chickens. We've also thought about getting more of like a working breed type dog, but they're so busy and they really want to be working. And I don't know if I have enough jobs for them around here. So we'll see. But my favorite family activity to do with my husband and my daughter is we love going out for like a brunch or a lunch or even a dinner. We love eating food. I love eating food not cooked by me. I love going out with them and eating food, or going to markets and like eating food. We're actually doing that today. We're gonna go to a market and eat some food. Next question is, if you could do it all over, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently? I don't really know. I think maybe the foundation, I would have gone with a typical 4 foot down foundation. It just costs so much more money, but I think it would have saved a lot of stress. But it's also really a great foundation choice for high water table, which we have a high water table. So I'm still back and forth on that. Knowing what I know now, I would have brought the plumbing up in different points in the concrete. Like I didn't really think things through. I just brought up the pecs where the ABS vents were coming through, but that caused a little bit of an issue with like the pecs not being on the right side of things and having to kind of like wrap it around the ABS, and like it still fits in the wall, but it's a little tight. There's a lot more about plumbing that I didn't realize, but that's just the name of the game, and that's okay. Next question is, do you have any good and useful advice for beginner carpenters? I would say replace any time where you're watching TV and put it towards watching YouTube videos, specifically from the Perkins Builder Brothers. I think are the best people to learn from. They give you kind of an overview of how the whole house works. Even if you just want to do carpentry, now you know a little bit more about plumbing. Now you know a little bit more about foundation work and concrete work. I think the greatest tradespeople understand other trades. I'm sure there's other great YouTube channels, but I stuck with the Perkins Builder Brothers. There's also another one. He does like home builds, and I watch him a lot for like specifics. I'm gonna have to like post him here. I gotta find him and post him here. Like, I'm more of like a vlog channel and I kind of teach a little bit as I go. He's more of like a how-to channel. The next question is, when you get the house mostly finished, what do I set my sights on? So I think within the next, 3-4 years, there's going to be a lot of content on this property of other builds that we're going to do. First 3 on the list: getting the deck done, getting the chicken coop done, building an office for my husband on the property. He's always had a dream of having a cabin in the woods, and then this office will become my office. I would love to build something off-grid further into the property for maybe guests or my mom and Craig to use. If we can swing it financially, I would love to keep buying up land. And I also have a very long-term vision of what it would look like to help build a tiny home community, to start up a tiny home community. The housing crisis is wild right now. I love this question. In the future, if your daughter asks you to help build her home, do you gush with pride or do you run screaming from the flashbacks of building your home? I would love to help my daughter build a home. Like, love it. What trades have you enjoyed the most and the least? I think the one that brought me the biggest pride and joy and like biggest sense of accomplishment was electrical, because that was just such a big learning curve. There's so much code. I think my least favorite, and not necessarily that it was my least favorite trade, but the one that has brought me the most issues has been plumbing. And maybe that's because it's just the most recent. I think there's parts of plumbing that like I really enjoy, and then there's parts of plumbing like climbing into a pump chamber that's just like, wow, I don't want to do this. There's literal feces in here and I have to climb in this. The rest of plumbing I've seemed to enjoy. I really loved framing and learning the framing process. I love excavating. I love dropping trees. I love bucking and splitting wood, forming work, concrete work, foundation work. I don't think I would ever pursue a career in that. I think it was empowering to be able to do rebar and mesh. I don't like it. Next question is, do you plan on canning fruits and vegetables for your home? Yes, I would love that. It's been a dream of mine. I used to do fermentation and like sauerkraut, and I've canned tomato sauce with my friend Charlie. Actually, I've been looking at these for the last few years, those underground cellars. We don't have like underground anything here under our slab. So I think it would be cool to install an underground cellar and have like a ton of food in there. Okay, how much time goes into filming and editing your videos, and what advice do you have to someone wanting to do their own videos? Filming, setting up my camera for all the shots. If you see a shot of like me driving in our driveway, like I've had to get out of my truck, set my tripod up, get the truck to go by, get out, go get my camera, set up a different angle. If you see multiple different angles of shots of like me working on something in the attic, I've had to set up the tripod. I have to, think about what I want to say. The titles and the thumbnails, those are tricky because they're the package of your product. And if they're not good, people don't click. The editing, oh my God. I actually started off editing on my phone. I don't recommend that. I did that for a year. I use CapCut. It's free. I do pay for the upgraded service to help get rid of background noise like wind. It's really helpful. It takes me about 15 to 20 hours a week to edit a video. I would say if you're starting your own video journey, focus on improving something every week. Don't expect your first video to be perfect. Does your pond get deep enough to put a small rowboat in it? I don't think so. I've thought about like getting a kayak, But once it gets all grassy like this, I have no intent of wanting to go in there. But in the spring and the fall, when there's not very much grass, I think, oh my gosh, it would be so nice to get a kayak in there. So I think I might buy a kayak because we do have some big lakes around us that I could use it on. All right, next comment is really cool. So I told my wife to watch your channel for inspiration. I brought her into my line of work and she has excelled beyond our expectations. Amazing. Do you have any advice that might help her coming from a strong woman? Thank you so much for this. So I work in a male-dominated industry, as in having to go into different shops and wholesalers, and most of my friends who have helped me in this trade are men, and I am so thankful for their expertise. So for me, I guess I would say, like, be confident in who you are and in your ability, and be confident in that you can learn anything that any of these guys are doing. You might not be able to carry the same amount of 2x6s as them, but at the end of the day, if you're working in a male-dominated industry, they typically don't care if you can carry as many 2x6s or if you can't carry as much as they can. There's always men within the industry who can carry more or lift more than another guy. But I would say ask questions. Most men are willing to answer if you are willing to learn and want to share their expertise. I find most men within this industry, even wholesalers, are just willing to teach. Ask questions, be willing to learn, be confident in who you are. The next question is, do you wish you hadn't started or maybe just hired someone else to do the work for you? And I would say, like, for the most part, no, I'm really happy with what I hired out and what I chose to do myself. Maybe in the coming weeks, you'll see in my plumbing videos that there were some extreme frustrations, but I probably still wouldn't have hired a plumber for it, even with how certain things have gone. Sorry, I have to be vague. Tune back in the next few weeks. There's a reason why I have so many bags under my eyes right now. I was crying so much. Next one is, what got you into the mindset of saying, no worries, I've got this? I don't know. I feel like that might be delusion sometimes. When I tell you that my mom hammered into me throughout my entire childhood, you can do anything you put your mind to, like, I definitely attribute this mindset to her. Hearing that over and over again was probably the most frustrating thing as like a preteen and a teen, you know, me getting frustrated with something and her saying, you can do anything you put your mind to. So if you put your mind to, I can't do that, then you can't do that. But if you put your mind to, I can do that, then you most likely can do that. Might you need an extra hand? 100%. Might you need to ask for help? Yes, likely. And have you ever gotten to the point of saying, I'm way in over my head? On a daily frustration level, yes. And when I've looked at the project as a whole, 100%. There's certain things in this project, like electrical, that I have said, right now, I'm running the wires. I'm not worrying about the panel. I'm just bringing the wires to the panel because I don't need to know about the panel yet. I've tried to take this project one step at a time because when you're learning it, you can't gather all of this information without years and years of experience. Like, you don't know until you know? But that means there's going to be mistakes made along the way because now you understand that concept more and you're gonna go back and be like, oh, I wish I did that differently. Sometimes you just don't know until you gain the perspective, and you have to be patient with yourself. And sometimes you learn a lesson out of it, and most times you always learn a lesson, but other times it's just dumb. It's just, where's the lesson in that? That is just so dumb. Next question is, how did you find land to build your tiny house? So we actually sold our home 5 months before we found our land. So I would say be really patient. Know that utilities are going to cost a lot to bring in. So sometimes if you find a piece of land that's a lot more money, but it has utilities and a driveway and a well, you're probably going to spend about the same amount of money as it would to develop your land. We were looking at 40 acres of land for $180,000 that sold out from underneath us, and I was so disappointed. Now we got this land for $109,000, but we ended up spending so much money developing it that it ended up costing $180,000 to buy the land and to have all the utilities brought to the land. Having land with wetlands is cheaper, but you have to make sure that you can build on the land. Building further away from utilities is more expensive and more tricky. We wanted to make sure we were within a certain distance from a hospital, from doctors, from hardware stores. I didn't want to be 2 hours away from those amenities. Next question is, after all the hard work you put into your house, would you do do it all again, but this time you'll have the experience and the knowledge. I would definitely do it again with a few changes. I've promised both my husband and my daughter we will never live in a trailer again to build a home. That if we build again in the future, let's say a rental property or these tiny homes or whatever, we will live in a home. We will have space, because living in a trailer has been a sensory nightmare. Having the knowledge is so much more helpful. I think I would do it again. I think I would do it quicker. There's a couple of variables I might change, but yeah, I would do it again, hands down. I would love to keep building. But honestly, it's my goal in life to never have to work for an employer again. So building under my own terms. So my mom asked, what does turning 30 mean to you? Is it a big deal or is it just another year? So for me, it's a big deal and it's a celebration. I have no fear in hitting the age 30. I have always felt the age 30. My biological father passed away when he was 29. Turning 30 is a massive deal. The dark humor in me is like, hey, I beat you. But for me, there's been all these trauma points that I've had to get past. I was 7 months old when my dad died. When my daughter turned 1, I was like, we made it. When my husband turned 30, I was like, we made it. My husband and I reached a certain amount of years married and I was like, we made it. And so I'm turning 30 in a month and it's a big deal. All right, I think I got to all the questions. Thank you so much for asking them, and thank you for being patient with me and needing to push back my build videos another week. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions. I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you next week. I will have a building video for you, so stay tuned until then.